All right, how's it going? Welcome to the Ludus Games, and I'm going to do a deck tech on a commander deck. Hopefully, we can do a bunch of these videos and bring them out to you guys. This deck that this deck that I'm going to be going through with you today is a mono blue deck, and let me just say that, like any mono blue deck, it's about control. Prolonging the game until you can get to your win con. This deck can be played with either two generals. The one that I like to play more is this one here. It's Llawan, the Cephalid Empress. She's awesome. So for 1 blue, 3 colorless, she's a 2/3 body Cephalid legend. When she comes into play, return all blue creatures your opponents control to their owner's hands. Your opponents can't play blue creature spells. I particularly like this general more than the one I'm going to show you that you can play with this deck, because blue mages just bother me in the sense that and I'm being hypocritical, I guess, with this deck, but they bother me in the sense that I don't want to be bothered or interrupted. I just want to play through and win. And I don't want them to play creatures. And typically, if if you're facing blue mages or in your play group, you got people who like to play blue, this card poses a problem for them. They can't play their generals. They can't play any utility blue creatures that they have, and they have to rely on their spells. Llawan is general, so she can be replayed over and over again, so she typically always causes a problem. Now, at the place I play, 10th Planet Games, we have a monthly EDH tournament. It's a pairs tournament. We play the Tuck rule in that tournament, so there's that. But in regular rules of EDH, you just keep recasting her. The other general you can play with her is Sakashima the Imposter. 2 blue, 2 colors, 3/1. As she comes into play, choose a creature in play. It becomes that creature. Except the name of this card is still Sakashima the Imposter. And she also has ability for two blue and 2 colorless. Return this card to your hand at the end of turn. So she's a clone. This one's more of a, you play whatever you want type general, and I'll just clone your cards and take advantage that way. The thing that you can do with her, and I've done a list, it's not here, this is not the list, this is a very competitive one-on-one or even in multiplayer deck, but you can do a clone based deck. I built a deck called the Clone Army with her, and it's just generally all the clone cards, and you just bring them into play and you clone everybody else's deck. It's kind of fun. And you can go through the deck and just, you take out a few of the counterspell suites, maybe a few of the artifacts suites in this deck, and just replace them with the clones that you can. Or you could just keep it the way it is on this list, and she works just great. Okay, we'll go through the list for land 1. Okay, we have lands. I have snow-covered islands. I have 30 of them. Okay, and I run 36 lands in total in this deck. That's kind of my staple for lands in EDH. I do run a lot of rocks. I think, in my personal opinion, you should have about 45 mana sources approximately in your deck. So if you want to balance that between lands and rocks, that's fine. Or, things that fetch lands like Solemn or fetch lands or anything else, that works too. So I have 30 snow-covered islands. And I use snows because you'll see I have an artifact that doubles my mana, and it only benefits snow-covered islands, and unless my opponents are playing snow-covered, they don't get the benefits. So that's the lands. For non-basic, I have Reliquary Tower, Academy of Ruins, Temple of the False Gods, Ancient Tomb, Homeward Path, and Thespian Stage. Homeward Path and Thespian Stage, they're in here. I have some big creatures you'll see, and I don't like them to get stolen, so I use Homeward Path to get them back. I mean, you can certainly, this is one of those lands that you can replace it. You can replace it with another snow covered or some other utility, non-basic. And then Thespian Stage, generally I have one in all my EDH decks. It's just good to be able to copy another land, like maybe another ancient tomb or temple, you know, or Cabal Coffers if there's an Urborg in play. So this is another one that could potentially be changed out, but I like it and I run it. It works great. Those are the lands. We'll take you through the artifact suite. I have a Gilded Lotus, Mox Opal, Caged Sun, Mana Vault, Grim Monolith, Thought Vessel, Soul Ring, Gilded Lotus, Extra Planar Lands. That's the card I told you about that works great with your snow covered. Mox Diamonds. Those are my mana rocks, you could say. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. The other utility cards, I'll leave this one to the end, is Voltaic Key, Sculpting Steel. That could be any one of those mana rocks or any other irrelevant artifact that comes into play. Sensei's Divining Top, Isochron Scepter, and Crystal Shard. I'll talk about these last two. Crystal Shard's in here. It helps to protect my cards. I also have some ETB effects that it helps with my creatures with. You can also use it defensively, right? So someone taps out, you can bounce one of their creatures back to their hands or force them to tap down a mana if they want to keep a creature in play. So it's a utility card like that. Also, I have an infinite turn loop that goes, you cast your, take an extra turn spell, Archaeomancer, bring back your extra turn, bounce Archaeomancer back to your hand, and rinse and repeat every turn. So that's sort of what that's in there for. An Isochron Scepter, you'll see I run a lot of instant spells that pair with this. And initially I didn't have this in the list, but then it just worked. It's awesome. You can tutor for this because it's a Fabricate in the deck, and there's a bunch of other things. And then just pair this with a counter spell, pair it with a Brainstorm, pair it with Impulse, or any other instant 2 spell, which there are a plethora of them in the deck. So those are the artifacts. Quick count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 artifacts in the deck. Go to Planeswalkers. I have a suite of 3 Planeswalkers. We have Karn, Tezzeret, can tutor for Crystal Shard or for Isochron Scepter or any other relevant artifact, or untap 2 artifacts to play big spells. And the one and only Jace the Mind Sculptor. I left it to these 3. I don't think I need any more. These are really powerful. Jace gives you card advantage, controls the game. This is the ultimately, I think hands down, I think everybody would agree, one of the best Planeswalkers in the game. Karn's a removal suite, and Tezzeret is a tutor for your artifacts. So those are the Planeswalkers, 3 of them. I have 3 extra turn cards. I talked about that loop with the Archaeomancer and Crystal Shard. So you can do it with any one of these, although this one, if you can get to this one, it's pretty much game over. So we have Time Warp, Temporal Manipulation, and Time Stretch. There's your 3 extra turn cards. I'll move to the lone enchantment that I have in the deck. It's copy artifact, and simply, this I mainly use it to copy mana rocks. It just accelerates you out into the game a lot quicker. So basically, enchantment for 1 blue, 1 colorless. You put it into play. Copy target. Duplicate. Copy. Yep. This enchantment acts as a duplicate. I don't know what the errata is, whether it targets or not. Yeah, I'm not sure. I believe it targets. I could be wrong. So double check the errata. This is the old English on this. But this is the lone enchantment that I have in the deck. I'll move to my creature suite. You'll notice I have a lot of creatures that have ETB effects that help Some don't, but some do. And Crystal Shard works really well. We have Fencer, Myojin, Archaeomancer. We talked about that combo. Ulamog, Tidespout Tyrant, Blightsteel Colossus, Snapcaster, Kozilek Butcher of Truth, Clever Impersonator, Consecrated Sphinx, Trinket Mage, Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, Phyrexian Metamorph, and finally Jin Taxis. The creatures are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 on the creature count. I know it seems low, but you're really controlling the games with your spells and digging into your relevant cards. This is card draw. If you can get Tidespout and let's say Clever Impersonator, oh, you're casting a Brainstorm. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna bounce 2 of your permanents. That's a great combo. Obviously, Ulamog destroys, Blightsteel's a one-shot kill, a Snapcaster, Kozilek, Consecrated, discard draw, Trinket Mage, your tutor. Ulamog is a beater, but he also exiles 2 permanents on the cast. So people really need 2 spells to deal with this card, right? So you cast him, trigger goes in the stack. You can counter Ulamog, so he's not on the field, but the trigger still remains. So you need a Stifle and a counter spell at the same time to deal with them, or else you're losing 2 permanents and eating 10 points and exiling 20 cards. Phyrexian Metamorph, awesome. He also works really well with what's the legendary land? I forgot already. That brings back target Academy Ruins. Excuse me. Brings back target artifact to the top of your deck. So you could do wonders with him and recycle him as well. So that's the creature count. I'll move into spells. Here we go. We have Serum Visions, Telling Time, Cyclonic Rift, Fabricate, Capsize, Anticipate, Blue Sun Zenith, Brainstorm, High Tide, Long-Term Plans, Mystical Tutor, Impulse, and Ponder. Mainly these are dig spells, so I'm digging to fix my deck. Mystical Tutor, obviously look for any instant. If I need a counter spell in a pinch or something else, I'll get Mystical Tutor with. Long-Term Plans is a great card. If you haven't played this and you run a Sensei's Divining Top and you're a blue mage, you need to include this card. Simply put, you're tutoring for any card in your deck in blue for 3 instant speed, and with a top, you can move it right to the top of your deck and draw it next turn. So you can go for your win con with this. Great card. Again, if you're running top, and you're playing blue, the Long-Term Plans is your card. High Tide, obviously, double your blue mana, and guess what? Put that under an Isochron Scepter and just go to town with your mana. Every turn, you're doubling your mana. Brainstorm, Blue Sun, obviously, card draw, Capsize. I don't have an infinite mana combo with Capsize, but you can get to a point where you're running so much mana that you can end a turn bounce 2 permanents really easy in a game. So that's a good card. Fabricate, tutor any artifact, and we have 15 of them. Cyclonic Rift, obviously this is staple any blue mage deck. Just bounce all permanents you don't control. Another 2 dig spells, and those are your spells. All right, this helps you to accelerate into your deck and get your deck rolling. And finally, the counter spell suite. Oh, people who don't like blue are going to hate me for this, but hey, what are you going to do? Remand, Force of Will, Mana Leak, Preordain, Negate, Counterspell, Swan Song, Deprive, Hinder, Daze, Pact of Negation, Spell Crumble, Cryptic Command, and Arcane Denial. For the count on counterspells, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 counters, essentially. Some of these you might wonder why they're in a commander deck. Remand early on, card advantage, and you basically time walk somebody. Mana leak, again, early on, there's been a lot of times where turn one I've had a Mystical Tutor and a tutor for mana leak. Simply because it's a great counterspell early game. And if you get Mystical Tutor early, you really haven't set up your board. You don't know which way you want to run to win the game. So you have to hold on to that card. I find dumping it and getting it back later with a Snapcaster or Chaomancer is better. So I tutor for this right away and counter the first relevant spell. Usually people can't pay the tax on that. Tax meaning the extra 3 mana to play their spell. Negate. Some people are on the fence on it, but this is a great card in Commander. There's always relevant spells to be countering that are not creature spells, right? Swan Song is amazing because it's a 1-drop. You can counter a spell right off your first drop. So play a island, pass turn. Okay, you're gonna go Soul Ring into something else and go. Okay, nope, I'm gonna counter that. And they get a bird token, but the bird token is blue. And guess what? Your general. Whoops, that was the computer. Your general bounces blue creatures, so you're going to bounce that token. It fizzles, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. So Swan Song's amazing for this deck. Deprive. If you don't run Deprive as a counter spell, it's awesome. Counter anything for 2 blue. The drawback is return a land that you control to your owner's hand, but that's not a big deal. Daze. People are like, well, why would you play Daze in a Commander match? It's only a tax of 1, and people play it. I'm going to tell you something. Daze in a counterspell battle wins the day all the time. So you go Pact of Negation, right? Pact of Negation. Oh, Force of Will. Okay, Daze. Pay an extra mana. Oh, you don't have any more. I win the counterspell battle. It's really, really good. Especially in a control. And this is, as you can see, there's a lot of control in it. So you need Daze. You don't need it. You can cut it if you want to lower your counterspell count, but I'm telling you, when you're playing other competitive blue decks, it'll come in handy. And Arcane Denial, people are like, why give your opponent card draw advantage? Well, you're not just giving your opponent card draw advantage, you're giving yourself. I like to try to time Arcane Denial for end of turn counters. So if we're playing 4-player, on the last player, if he plays a relevant spell, that's the best time to use Arcane Denial. Yes, they'll get 2 cards, but you get advantage on your card before they do. Essentially, you get 2 because on your turn, you draw a card for Arcane Denial and 1 for your draw phase. So you've drawn 2 to their 2. So it's and it's fairly fair in that sense. They're drawing 2, you're drawing 2, and you get to use your cards before they do. It's relevant. So don't be shy about putting this one in your deck and playing it. So that's the deck. Hope you enjoyed it. If there's any comments, you can leave them. Thumbs up if you like. Hopefully we can post more of these deck texts with you. I apologize for any mistakes or whatever. We're just trying to work out some bugs and see how it goes. So I hope you enjoyed it. Again, play the Cephalid Empress. She's awesome. She hoses blue mages. Or you can play Sakashima. Sakashima's fun too. She doesn't hose, but she copies, and it's like, okay, you get an advantage, so do I off your general, because I'll copy it. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you guys later. Peace.